Hello everyone, welcome back and good evening. It is Friday. It is a great day for crypto today. We have finally hit one of our targets that we had over here, resistance 2 on the pivot levels. A high of 116,728 was just hit on Bitcoin, so that is magnificent. From there, we kind of retraced a little, but we're on our way back up. Current price 116,300. And it's looking really good. So, in terms of geopolitics, not a lot has gone on. We did not get any economic data today. Nothing too important. We're all in expectation of a possible rate cut by next week, Wednesday. Once that does kick off, well, the effects will... It's going to be a sell the news event, probably, right? So don't expect this to skyrocket specifically on Wednesday. The skyrocketing is happening now, right? Because markets are already pricing this stuff in. It's typical with the markets. You want to like be ahead of the curve. And if you know something is going to happen with a high chance, we'll say like the rate cuts, it's practically 100% guaranteed. We will be getting some form of a rate cut. Now, whether that's a 25 basis point rate cut or a 50 basis point rate cut is up in the air, but that's fine. 93% chance, it's likely we're getting a 25 basis point rate cut, but I like the chance of the 50% basis points. It's still in there, 6.6% chance that that happens. Nonetheless, given these probabilities, it's looking really good for the rest of this year in terms of the market's projections, not the Fed's projections. So what will happen on Wednesday? It could be good or it could be bad, because specifically that meeting on Wednesday, September 17, from the FOMC, they're going to be discussing, their projections, what they see, how much more rate cuts are we expecting for the end of this year. In the past and currently, we're only expecting 2 rate cuts. First one is going to happen now. Second one could happen either the next meeting or the one after, because there's only 2 more left after this. We're just expecting another rate cut by then. But given all this economic data that we have been getting since the beginning of the year, like in spring, since then, the Fed has to update the projections, and they will be providing us with those projections for the next meeting. So we'll see if they also see what we're seeing. We're seeing 3 total rate cuts for this year. Let's see if they do the same, or if they still stick with 2, or worst case scenario where, you could say bull cycle is canceled if they only cut it like once, or if they don't even cut at all. But there's really no reason not to cut. I think Powell is tired of getting bullied by Trump, so we should expect a rate cut at last. And this is what the markets are currently pricing in. So if the projections that we get is something like 2, it's still all right, but the markets are going to be like, oh, they're only expecting 2 rate cuts. So the first one's already happened. We're only going to get 1 more and forget about this one, or something to that extent, which of course we're not going to like. So we got to hope that they remain dovish on their projections. Or no, I'd say aggressive, right, on the rate cuts. I don't know the terminology and what birds they're using to describe them, but you get the point, right? We want 3 rate cuts. We want them to see what we see, and we will all be happy. And if they do a 50 basis point rate cut, we're mooning to 150k easily. No, I'm kidding, not exactly that, but you get the point. So that's what we are to expect at the current moment. I saw, let me see if I can find what I saw. The CME gap for Bitcoin was closed. Also happens to coincide with the resistance level that I had over here from pivots. Not my personal projection, but I had mine at 115,905. This is from Fibonacci, which I was more inclined to pay attention to. Seems like no, not anymore, but we'll see. 118k is your next resistance after this, after we break this one. Seems like a lot of shorts did finally get liquidated, and it brought us to where we are currently. Hence the drawback, slight drawback. That's why we didn't continue rising, of course. We did get overbought at this area. So Good for you if you were able to take profits by then. I'm still holding on to my stuff, and I am very green right now. It's too much green. I have to turn on like a anti-green screen filter. I don't know what you call it. But yeah, so that is a joke, by the way. I didn't actually modify none of that. I want to confirm that if we did indeed close the CME gap, because from my understanding, it was at like 117,000 plus. You can check this on the CME futures. No, it's actually correct. It was... Well, the CME gap on the... On this chart, what do you call this? The CME chart? Their gap did close. Although it doesn't specifically show that same amount for us in Bitcoin, right? They hit a high of 117,320, right? So technically, yes, CME gap successfully closed, and my projection, my prophecy, was fulfilled. Great. From here, oh, what is that? Oh, that is Bitcoin dominance. I thought that was Bitcoin chart. This is also a good thing, by the way. This is a clear indicator that the amount of money that is in Bitcoin compared to altcoins seems like is becoming less in Bitcoin, and more of it is starting to go into either altcoins or stablecoins. It could be either or, right? But most likely altcoins. And this is a good indicator that alt season is on its way to start, right? We've seen Bitcoin dominance at such high levels for such a long time, and this was when, you know, all altcoins were still very low. But with the recent rise of Solana and the coins in its ecosystem, we've seen a crazy rise from Pump Fund. I don't even remember if I talked about Pump Fund yesterday, but I'll have a look at it today. It's not that one. What did I just click on? Pump Fund. Yeah, huge rise on it so far. It's really good. So Solana, meme coins, all of that, it's been on the rise and it's been going really well. So happy to see that. Back to Bitcoin here. So confirmed, yes, CME gap is now closed for Bitcoin. And the dominance dropping over here means more money is getting into altcoins. We should start seeing some more alts rise further. I'd say we officially cross alt season as soon as Bitcoin dominance drops below 54%. The reason for that is because that's technically what happened over here in 2021. Or I'd say maybe even where we are right now. Like, you see this 57 level right over here? As soon as he broke through that, that is when alt season really hit, I would say. Maybe we are at that level right now. I don't know. I'm being a bit confusing with these two levels, but I'd be more willing to believe the 57 mark because of that bounce right over here. Just based off of technical analysis on this chart. It's not really like a price that you can invest in. It's just like a measurement, a comparison between two types of assets, right? Where money is compared to the two. Yeah, I'd say like we're really, really starting to get there. So that is good overall. And Bitcoin is still on the rise, so that divergence, it's a good sign. Ethereum had a good rise today, 4,726. Congrats if you got into Ethereum. I did not because I suck and that's all. But it's good. It keeps on moving up. 4,734 is where we have a resistance. So we're slowing down right there. Similar deal to, you know, the slowdown that we're seeing on Bitcoin trying to go past and hit 117,000. Not quite there yet, but it still has... No, it doesn't really have that much strength to continue, does it? We're entering a weekend anyway, so I wouldn't trust a weekend pump. And Saturdays, usually it's just a price decay for the whole day. No volume, nothing much happens, so we really want to wait until like Sunday afternoon or Sunday evening before we start seeing the continuation of any movements, whether that is us continuing higher or correcting due to fears of whatever goes on with the FOMC possibilities. I think we should still remain bullish, but it's likely people would be taking profits beforehand if they don't want exposition to that kind of volatility. I would understand. But you're a coward if you do that. Stick with it. Solana, great day as well. Like I said, this is just beautiful organic growth over here. We hit a new high, recent high, 244 and 21. The current price is 243.49. It just won't stop rising. Super trend keeps skyrocketing up as well. And uptrend invalidates at 222, kind of matching where this, I guess, previous resistance would become support. That level kind of works. It matches. Where do we go from here? What is this Fibonacci that I have drawn? It's the correct one for resistances. You clearly have probably final boss resistance before we meet our all-time high at 250, I would say. Look at this weekly candle on Solana. It just goes to show how good of a week Solana is having. That's crazy growth. But nothing compared to something like this. A 42% growth in 1 week. January 13. Hey, with alt season, all things are possible. So we'll see how that performs. But so far, I'm liking this growth. It's been really good. I've already taken lots of profits on my ETFs. And specifically on this account, it got sold off a little too early, unfortunately, by hitting... I put a stop loss right over here, and it hit that. Then I put orders after this low, and it never came back down. So I'm out of Solana on this account. On my standard futures account, that still has some purchases on it. I'm debating whether or not I should take profits or just hold on to it, because I've been holding on to those positions since January. I purchased at like 230, 217, and 195 or something like that. So we're it's a bit scary right here. Very, very overpurchased. And the chance of a correction is pretty imminent, but it's been like that for such a long time that I don't even know anymore. But that's the beauty of alt season. You're scared to take profits. Are you scared? What, you're not going to click the sell button? You're not going to make an inch of money here, or what? Well, that's for you to decide, ultimately. XRP, good growth as well today, hitting a high of 313. I'm waiting for 333 to consider taking profits. We're about to enter over purchased area as well. So a lot of coins have, you're going to notice, have reached this kind of overbought zone. Even Bitcoin? Yeah, it did. So I wouldn't expect much during this weekend is what I would suggest, right? We're going to see something like this. And then maybe Sunday we continue, hopefully. All right. And I'm also in profit here. I'm not selling. I will take profit up there. So yeah, we'll wait it out. Sui, good growth as well. Finally above 375. Although that is also a resistance we are met with. Not necessarily overpurchased yet. I think so we had a delayed start, right? Compared to something like Solana that was just rising regardless of whatever was going on. Yeah, Sui for once took its sweet time, but Sui will outperform Solana this cycle, guaranteed. Solana will be very strong, and the fact that Sui will outperform it, it should tell you something. I'm talking in terms of like returns, right? It's just better. And of course, I've always made the comparison between Sui and XRP. For this cycle, I would stick with not XRP. Sui, because the growth potential is there. XRP is good and all, but you'd probably want that for like long term. And that's more for like centralization, for banks, for institutions. You already know what the Wall Street likes to do, so I like to stick to the sidelines and invest in a project similar to XRP. In comes Stellar, XLM, and man, I am getting a decent return on this as well, but I will not sell yet. I'm taking profit at 49, or not even. I was considering changing that amount because it's a baseless exit point. Like, it feels like random. Like I randomly placed it. I don't know why I placed it there. I'd have to go back and check. I was probably thinking like I want to sell at 50, but I don't want to necessarily hit 50, so I'll put 49 point something. I think that was my thought process, but I'd have to reconsider that. So might have to drop it to like maybe 48. Something realistic. Although I've also mentioned this yesterday, it could just skyrocket, shoot up, and ignore my technical analysis. So whatever. Still a long way to go, so, you know, I shouldn't be greedy about it just yet. But it's on the right path, and I like that. So all the suffering, it's paying off. And that's what we like to see here. That's why we do this investing stuff. Chainlink, back at it again with a good run over here. Also entering over purchased area, 71 RSI. Current price is 25.18. I am also in profit here, but I didn't put as much as I would like to. The volume is much lower compared to the other assets that I have invested in, so the return is not going to be that big. I put a take profit up here nonetheless, just to see if we ever do hit that. I'm probably going to reconsider it as well. And Cardano, blowing chunks, how are you doing? Oh, you're finally in profit. Yes, because it is 93, and you have your average entry at 92, I recall. So, hey, enjoy the mini green while you can. Cardano still's got it, in it. $1 plus is where it deserves to be. But like 2021 highs is going to be really hard for Cardano. But, you know, I'm in it here as well. 82 is my average entry. And I don't remember how much volume I put. Nothing too significant either. Like it was about 750. I'm already paying 22 in funding fees. Crazy. Okay. Not too bad though. Good rise from Cardano. 3.31% up today. World Liberty Financial. It's also a tiny movement over here. Like it was at 20 cents yesterday and it's at 20 cents today. And that means a 2% movement. Like that's the amount of volatility this coin brings. I like the exposition to that volatility. It's like gambling. I don't know. And Pengu, you have Pengu too. How's that been going? Let's have a look. I'll look at USDT. Or I guess I clicked on USDC. Sure. I took profits over here. Yeah, I could have had more profits. It's fine though. It is going strong. I'll admit that. Uptrend is there. I tried purchasing more over here, but it did not get filled. It's fine. I made 250 profit on that one. We hit the final resistance on it. This was today, this like midnight this morning, I'd say. 0.38 was its highest. Okay. Yep, looking really good for Pengu. I like that. How's my Pepe doing? Also up 3. This is up already more. What is this? What is this? What do you call this? How do you study like you know. Anyway, do I take profit? I really want to. It's a meme coin. Come on, you must take profit. This is more of a return than what I had on Pengu, isn't it? 68%? Yeah, you're joking. 340 profit. What do you say, chat? $8 and that's beautiful. Just $8 in fees, like compared to the rest of stuff that I'm holding on to. I only put 500. This is why we invest in meme coins, isn't it? Bye-bye. Alright. Took profits there. Screw Pepe. No, I'm kidding. I love Pepe. Thank you. Thank you for a big return. Should have put like 100k in here and I would have been a millionaire by now, huh? Anyways, that's what we get paid to do here. Yeah. 60%, it's pretty good. Come on. Other rate of returns on these, they're still in the 20s, 30s. Yeah, they still got enough room to run. I'm waiting the hardest on Bitcoin, of course. I'm keeping Bitcoin at its target at 135k. And Stellar, I don't even know. I'm going to wait until next week. That's my plan. I'm going to wait until next week. We'll get new pivot resistance levels. I'll try to combine those with like a resistance from Fibonacci. And that's where I will consider taking any profits. Even if that means me dropping this to like a 46 or 47, maybe even 48. I'd be content with that. The exposition in here is pretty grand, so good. That's good. All right, beautiful. Love it. Great. So I guess that's all I have for technical analysis. I mean, I haven't really liked that Aptos. Let's have a look at it. It's on the rise too. It's pretty good. Hasn't necessarily hit overbought yet, so momentum is still there. It can continue rising. Safest play. I always say that. Safest play. Litecoin I've also invested in, but it's not been doing too much. in terms of movement. We're stuck at this resistance here, it seems. Trying to break out of that to hit 120. And even then, it's pretty underwhelming. Aave also had a good rise today, I think. 2% up, not too bad. Resistance at 321. Okay. Sure. I put a take profit up there at 367. I think that's valid for Aave. Sure. If that hits, it hits. That's good. Good. Top gainer Bitcoin, second place, close second. Sui and Stellar. Yeah. Yeah, that's all. 2. Great. Alright, moving on. Let's talk about the news. Things that have kind of been going on around in the world. We have an update on Charlie Kirk's assassin. The murder suspect has been captured and is in police custody. I'm sure you guys have all seen it. I'll briefly talk about it. It's not going to be brief. It's going to take a while. So sorry if you don't care, but I have to talk about it. Everything we know about the Charlie Kirk shooter so far. So he's 22 years old, 1 year younger than me. I don't even imagine doing this kind of atrocity. And to think that somebody younger than me is doing this kind of stuff, it's like, wow. Do people younger than me even exist anymore? Name's Tyler Robinson, 5'10", 150 pounds, brown hair. He's heavier than me. Well, he's taller than me too. He has 3 charges: felony discharge of firearm, obstruction of justice, aggravated murder. He's being held without bail, received $32,000 scholarship. So he's smart kid, by the way, for Utah State University. Dropped out after 1 semester, 4.0 GPA in high school, and 34 ACT. I don't know what these numbers mean. They're American stuff. I don't understand. I'm Canadian, so I assume it's good. Right? Oh my gosh. Is 4.0 GPA good? I can't type. Yeah, 4 point is excellent academic achievement. Yeah, okay, good. I was right. That's not what I wanted. He was not a student at the school Charlie was shot at. He was a local resident of the university. His father is the one who actually turned him in to the FBI. He reached out to a family friend and said that Robinson was alluding to the fact that he did the murder. The information also got to the FBI. The family friend apparently was like some minister nearby that they knew of. They also said that he was saying hateful and violent things about Charlie Kirk at a family dinner prior to the shooting. Oh yeah, blowing chunks, you're right. I don't think of shooting anyone. I won't be shooting anyone at any age. I know. Okay. But like, even like, I'm just trying to compare like our lives, right? My life has been pretty clean. And no, I would never do that. So it's pretty sick. It's pretty like crazy that people younger than me are doing this. Like that's the kind of thing I'm trying to correlate it to, right? Yeah. He's been more radicalized in the prior years. He opens his big mouth and blabbed to his friends and roommate on Discord about needing to retrieve a gun from a drop point. So apparently this was all coordinated on Discord with his online friends. He mentioned the rifle was in a bush and how to identify it and where it was located. It was wrapped in a towel. He mentioned that he changed clothes after killing Kirk. He also mentioned the gun he used and the bullet engravings. That's one thing that doesn't quite make sense here. Some people are saying, like, from the footage that he was running away, it didn't look like he had a rifle, right? How did he conceal that? Maybe in the bag. They saw he was holding something when he jumped off the roof, probably the rifle and a towel thing. But there was also, like, the bullets engraved with anti-fascist and transgender rhetoric, and also some furry stuff and disgusting things written on it, of course. And I don't know. Not that I know of, he doesn't look like a transsexual, so I don't know what the thought process is there. Like, I could understand you being a leftist or anti-fascist, whatever it is, but okay. It was troll messages either way. Yeah, notices bulge. Oh, whoa, what's this? A fascist catch. Oh, bella ciao ciao. I think this is Italian stuff. If you read this, you're gay, LMAO. Yeah, Italian anti-fascist song is bella ciao. He had no registered political affiliation. Yeah, what was he doing? Was he working for somebody? FBI kind of determined that, no, he acted alone, that kind of stuff. So here's the photo of the suspected shooter. Not suspected, confirmed shooter. He'll likely face the death penalty, but we'll see. People are saying, oh, Charlie Kirk would have wanted him to just spend life in prison because, you know, he had the rifle in his pants leg. Yeah, that's what I heard as well. He was caught on the house camera with the rifle in his pants leg. Yeah, the details are kind of all over the place now, but I'm sure we'll get like an actual complete thing after his trial is passed, after they sentence him to whatever it is. Yeah. He actually threatened to kill himself rather than to surrender to authorities after his father confronted him about Charlie Kirk. The father was like a veteran in the sheriff county, whatever, and also involved with the church. I think they said they were Seventh-day Adventists or something. So the father did the right thing, I'd say, by giving up his son. I talked about this with my parents, and not to say I would ever do something criminal like this, but I told my parents, hey, if I was something like this, because the age is close, right? And the intelligence as well. I'm also a smart guy, if believe it or not. But anyway, that's beside the point. If I did something like this and I confessed it to you guys, would you be capable of giving me up to authorities with the possibility of me facing like death penalty or something? And they said no. So it's pretty funny in that sense, just to kind of relate it. But hey, kudos to the dad for actually, you know, having the balls, I guess, to a very, very tough decision, because this is your son that we're talking about here. But he did something that's like really terrible, really unforgivable, and I think it's the right thing to, even if he's your son, you got to do the right thing. You got to report him to authorities. He contacted the youth minister, who also worked with the U.S. Marshals Service Fugitive Task Force. The minister then contacted the deputy to turn him in. He confessed to shooting Kirk, but initially refused to turn himself in, telling his father that he'd rather kill himself. So yeah, there we go. It's a good thing that he did not die, right? We captured him alive and in good condition, so that we could do the process of bringing him to justice appropriately, right? Questioning him, interrogating him, going through court processes, and ultimately determining whatever his sentence will be, whether that's life in prison or some form of capital punishment, which, by the way, is legal in Utah, that state. So we'll see what comes of it. That's all for that. Yep, I agree with that, blowing chunks. It's crazy. It's crazy stuff. What else we have in the news? Top headlines. U.S. will pressure G7 countries to hit India and China with sharply higher tariffs for buying Russian oil in an attempt to force Moscow into peace talks with Ukraine, according to the 4 people briefed on the plans. That is a step in the right direction, I believe. Trump already put tariffs on India, as we know, because India is the biggest buyer of Russian oil. We want to impact Russian economy kind of indirectly, so that Russia would feel incentivized to have their peace talks with Ukraine. We want that Ukrainian war to end. Of course, we here on this channel, we hate people dying. We don't want to see that happen. We don't want to see wars. We don't care who it is that's dying. We don't want to see it happen. So, I mean, in the world we live in, the reality is, yeah, that kind of stuff happens, but we must do our best to be against it completely. So, part of that is ending the war in Russia-Ukraine. Now the United States is pressuring practically the European Union, I guess, is what the G7 countries are. I'm assuming Canada is also in there. It's the top European countries. He wants them to also put tariffs on India and China, because India clearly didn't care that even after we raised, I say we, but the United States raised the tariffs to 50% onto India. They didn't care, and they will continue still buying Russian oil. But what if we get other countries involved in this as well? I'm assuming 6 other countries, because if United States is one of the 7, then, 6. But yeah, I don't know if that's going to be confirmed yet. I think I covered it last week specifically for, it had to do with the European Union, but they weren't likely to do so, as what I saw, the last thing that they mentioned. So let's hope that they do. And that would be enough pressure for both India and China to, kind of get Russia to, like, at least have them stop buying Russian oil, which would impact Russian economy. And then, of course, they want their economy to be all right. They would do their peace talks with Ukraine. So hopefully that works out. China on Thursday warned Mexico that raising tariffs on Chinese goods will be considered appeasement to the US's bullying. I love how that's like the phrase that they're using for all of this whole tariff stuff. Like, oh, the United States is bullying the whole world with their tariffs. After Mexico mold plans to impose import duties of up to 50%. Nikkei. Why Nikkei is here? Nikkei is Japan. That has nothing to do with China or Mexico. I don't know specifically what they're talking about there. Alliance. Global harms of Chinese government bonds after... Wait, what? Or they're boosting their holdings. After a sell-off driven by rotation to stocks sent yields into multi-month highs. Personal Bank of China would resume purchases as well on Chinese bonds. If you care about the Chinese economy at all, there you go, I guess. Scott Bessent will meet with the Vice Premier of China, He Lifeng, and other senior officials next week in Madrid to continue the discussions on trade, economic, and national security issues that Treasury sent on Thursday. That's good. Brazil Supreme Court sentenced the former president, Jair Bolsonaro, to 27 years in prison for plotting a coup after his 2022 election defeat. Interesting. Marco Rubio said the U.S. will respond accordingly. What? Is he in the United States, I suppose? I don't know. OpenAI is moving closer to a for-profit structure, finally, under a new deal with Microsoft, giving its nonprofit parent an equity stake of more than $100 billion. The plan faces resistance from Elon Musk, of course, and regulatory scrutiny. Because this whole nonprofit thing with OpenAI, it's really getting to Elon Musk. He also really hates Sam Altman. We've talked about like the whole AI CEO conflicts that are going on. So yeah. Speaking of the devil, Sam Altman and Nvidia's Jensen Huang will announce investments worth billions of dollars in UK data centers next week. People familiar said. Why not the US? Adobe 3.8% pre-market. Their shares rose on a strong revenue forecast, suggesting investments in AI features are paying off. If you don't know, the new Photoshop, the new Premiere Pro, they have AI features, and it looks like it's working out good for them. Reported solid quarterly results and upped its revenue net new APR. If you care about Adobe stock at all, I have invested in it before. I made a small profit, but that was it. I never really touched it after that. Gold ETF holdings jumped about 25 tons this week, the 6th highest weekly gain this year, on top of the Fed rate cut bets, weaker yields, and central bank demand. Still, Philip Nova warned long-term holding is riskier amid volatile momentum-driven trading. Interesting, okay. We're seeing, though, gold at all-time highs. S&P 500, the U.S. stock market index, all-time highs. NASDAQ, all-time highs. Peter Schiff is dunking on everyone, of course. If you don't know Peter Schiff, he's like the Michael Saylor to gold, right? So he's like, haha, gold at all-time high, and you guys stuck buying Bitcoin. Eat it. I mean, sure, gold looks really beautiful in a weekly chart, but Bitcoin will catch up. It usually does trail the movements of gold. Dave Ramsey once again calling Bitcoin dumber than crap, and the Fed is going to cut rates this week, so guess what happens next? It goes up. Bitcoin will continue rising here. Oh my gosh, we're crashing. 115,900. Hey, that's not too bad though. The stablecoin market cap hitting a new all-time high of $300 billion, 300 billion, 520 million. That's a lot of liquidity sitting on the sidelines waiting for a dip, meaning that they're not going to let this go into a downtrend anymore. It's very not likely unless something like terrible catastrophic news kind of happens. Lowest point, I would say 114,000. A good support for Bitcoin. That's where I would see people consider putting their money into. Worst case scenario, 112K. That's it. Supertrend is rising up to that level. 111, 812, right? So those are two good supports. 114, 112 for Bitcoin. Speaking of stablecoins, I don't know why I clicked that. Newsflash, Tether will be launching a new US-based stablecoin. It's going to be called USAT, I guess, for USA Tether. says the CEO, Paolo Ardoino. New US-based stablecoin. Because Tether is based in Europe, right? With that kind of regulation, it's hard to get it approved in other places, I guess. Like in Canada, we aren't allowed to use USDT. We can't really buy it or sell it on centralized exchanges. We have to use something like Circle, USDC, which is regulated in these areas. And due to that, and I actually wrote this down. Allow me a moment. A comparison between USDT and USDC. In terms of like volume and global liquidity, you could just look at the market cap of USDT. It's significantly higher than what we have for USDC, and I'm gonna pull that up right over here. Why is my mouse not working? Tether, $169 billion. Okay. And USDC has 73 almost $billion. You see the difference? But in terms of regulation and institutional adoption or trust, you're going to see USDC is much more popular in that sense. And in the long term, because of this, USDT will lose, I guess, like its purpose, I would say, because, you know, banks can't really use it because of the regulations things. They have to use USDC. With the institutional adoption that is significantly growing, people are going to favor USDC more. Right now, USDT is widely used, that we see, because of retail trading and just the amount of like decentralized exchanges that it's used by, right? So you have that. It's those are the two competitors for each other, right? I guess that's all I wrote down here. USDC is on the rise. Circle, we see the company, right? They're now public on the stock market. So on a good rise here too. I really wanted to buy this low point because that was like the last support ever since ICO price, right? In terms of Fibonacci here. So that would have been good buy right over here. I think it's trend of reversals already happened. We should start seeing a good rise on Circle soon. So in order to combat that, Tether will now be adding a new stablecoin, USAT, that will, I guess, get approved in the United States. I don't know why they don't just approve USD Tether. Maybe to keep USD Tether like decentralized and have USAT be centralized, I guess. But good news with it, at least, I guess, is Bo Hines will serve as the CEO of that company. Bo Hines, if you don't know, he resigned from the White House. What was he, a crypto advisor or something? Hold on. He was the executive director of the what? Advisors on Digital Assets. Yeah, Trump's Council of Digital Assets. So now he'll be working with USAT, and there are new pages just launched over here. Tether is working on USAT, which will be a dollar-backed stablecoin designed for the internet age. Spend 7, receive money instantly. Tether invented the stablecoin. Now we're bringing it home to the United States. Meet USAT, the digital dollar for creators, earners, and everyone left behind. Made for America, fast, borderless. Tether is powering digital dollars for the next generation, coming soon. This is the exact question I have. Yeah, it's going to be more centralized, of course, compared to USDT that has to be decentralized. It's USDT, but with a generous sprinkle of heavy US regulations. They can create separate product for the US market alone and leave the rest of their product line untainted. Pretty sure USDT won't go anywhere, and a market trading USDT versus USAT will probably also appear. Yeah, I agree. It's just going to be another stablecoin, really. No reason to change if you don't have to, but the possibility will be there, and we might start seeing USAT in centralized exchanges in, I don't know, countries like Canada. So that would be good, I guess. Concerning, not really, I don't know. But about Ethereum, if you care at all. With this rise, I don't think anybody cares about any FUD. altcoins except Ethereum, open interest is about to flip Bitcoin open interest for the first time in 9 months. This is the amount of leverage that is open in the markets, right? Last two times this happened was in December 2024 and March 2024. Both times alts formed a local top within 2 weeks. What does this mean? Does this mean that we have 2 weeks left in us before we see a top on alts before they crash significantly because of over leveraged trades? Is that what you're telling me? Yeah, probably. So watch out. I don't think it's going to be 2 weeks specifically. Like I think we got a couple more weeks in us. Q4 2025. Give it till maybe, I don't know. Some people say October. Some people say November. I'd play it safe. Maybe October. September, though, will be a good month nonetheless. We are still expecting rate cuts, though, for the rest of the end of this year. So it's going to take a while for that money to start flowing into the crypto market, of course, for those interest rates changes to actually have an effect on the markets. Right now, we're celebrating early. That's why we're seeing big pumps. But yeah. For Ethereum specifically, since we kind of skipped it, it has nearly $1.5 billion in long liquidity around the 4,200 level. Usually such a large liquidity is often swept before the next move, so don't be surprised if we see Ethereum back down over here, and I'm prepared with my order, my little pathetic order there. If it does happen, I don't think it will, but who knows. Ethereum tends to be very manipulated because it's been stained by the institutional investors. You got ETFs in here, you got manipulators. They're good at what they do. They know where the liquidity is. Not saying that it's going to happen specifically to Ethereum and they're going to use Ethereum as a scapegoat to force price down and haha, you guys lost all your money. Now we institutional investors buy and now we sit back and let you guys buy. I think that kind of stuff has already been, you know, good accumulation over here for a while in Ethereum. So it deserves the pump that it has right now. Yes, we are overbought. We could correct just a little bit. No lower than 4,600, I wouldn't expect. Yeah. So there you go. Too bad ETH staking rewards are so embarrassingly low, like 2.5% of Robinhood. Yeah, it is pretty low. That's why people pick other options. But then if you have a very, very high staking, sometimes it could just be way too inflationary for the coin. We saw what happens with things like Polkadot. I like to make a good example of Polkadot because I lost a lot of money on here. How much did it cost? Like 60? 53? In Canadian, it was 60. That's what I remember. It had like a 10% APY, right? Whereas can I check the yields here? I feel like here it is. 8%, 10%. Yeah, it's practically that same amount. And I mean, the market cap on it, it's pretty harsh. It's not going to reach where it once was over here. The amount of tokens in circulation are just significantly higher than what we had in 2021, right? This is why I believe like a lot of altcoins will probably not reach their all-time highs in 2021, even if they do have like a fixed supply. Like the demand is probably not going to be there for a lot of them. People are going to look for projects that are likely to give them a good rate of return, right? And I'm sure there will be other good projects still out there that will be good for staking. And if you do want to do staking, like, yeah, it would be a good idea to do so, but you should look at tokenomics as well, right? That's another thing to pay attention to. Reason why we rised over here, though, $1.10 billion worth of Ethereum shorts got liquidated at 4,700. We practically already broke through that, hence why we saw God Candle over here, 2.63%, plus an additional 1%. On Ethereum, and billions of dollars in Ethereum short liquidations. I don't know why people like to short Ethereum. I think people like to think it's a guaranteed drop because of, you know, we've seen how much Ethereum can crash. Like, let's not kid ourselves over here, but you know, I'm seeing a lot of Sonic being posted on Twitter. I don't know why. Maybe it's because I'm following the right people and I don't know, I'm a little bit biased. I do hold Sonic and I am very bullish on it. We had a really good rise today. I'm actually starting to FOMO a little bit. I even put a trigger order a little bit lower over here. It did not get filled. It just, of course, skyrocketed up afterwards. But hey, 31. I know it's not a big deal, but we're on our way there little by little. $328 million in Hong Kong listed shares are now tokenized on Sonic. That's good. RWA. Fosun Wealth launched SysRAM medical stock on 4 chains, including Sonic, amid rising RWA adoption. In Hong Kong, by the way, not specifically China, but hey, maybe China will follow once they see what the US is doing, once they see what Hong Kong is doing. They got to start getting involved in crypto too. And when China gets involved, that's a couple billions, maybe trillions that could start flowing our way. Would be great. As Fosun scales its tokenization, Sonic stands as the preferred settlement layer for the future of finance. 400,000 transactions per second, by the way, so Sonic can handle it all. We have this guy who is an architect of Sonic. I don't know why he said this, but he said sell and fuck off. Bossman is back, send it, and then I don't know why. It seems like every time this guy tweets or something, Sonic pumps, I guess is the meme. He said the angrier Andre gets, the harder Sonic will pump, and he's fuming. So it's pretty funny. The angrier he gets, the more Sonic pumps. We also have this. Sonic just announced re-entering market-making contract with Wintermute. We know Wintermute is probably one of the biggest market makers out there. So let's break down what this means, why Wintermute is important for the ecosystem. It's one of the largest market makers in crypto. It provides liquidity across 250 plus exchanges. It trades 5 billion plus in daily volume, so it's a big deal. We see companies like Binance doing it, although they get accused of market manipulation when they sell or when they send tokens like Solana over to Wintermute or Ethereum, right? But that's besides the point. It works with top projects to ensure smooth trading. So what does a market maker do? Of course, it maintains the order books, the stuff that you see. I don't want to click on it because it'll open a huge thing, but order book, this stuff. Oh, great. Yeah, I'm going to turn it off before it completely destroys my layout. But it's like the, I don't know how to explain it. Let me go to spot market. I think I have it here. This thing over here, the order book, where you can see who is buying, who is selling, that kind of stuff. I don't have anything on spot, so don't worry. It reduces price impact for traders, ensures you can buy and sell easily, helps maintain price stability, creates a better trading experience. It basically keeps the markets healthy. What did Wintermute do for Sonic previously? It provided deep liquidity, maintained tight spreads, which is a good thing. Spreads is like the distance between the bid and ask, if you don't know, right? The price that we're seeing here, it's not exactly that price. If you were to, I'm probably going to get the order wrong, but if you short the market, you're going to actually be shorting at the ask price. And if you buy in the market, you will be purchasing at the bid price or something like that. And the smaller that distance is, the better, of course, because we want, if I click buy on Bitcoin right now, I want it to be as close as the current number that I see the second I click buy, right? That's basically what it does. It helps reduce slippage as well. That kind of thing can happen with, like, if you have a stop loss over here and I don't know, maybe things are happening a little too quickly, too much volume is in the markets, your order is less likely to be filled at that exact price and it will get filled at a different price. I had a case of slippage myself, actually, on Solana. Right over here. So I had to not a take profit, I had a stop loss on Solana at, it was exactly 200. And my trade got closed at 199.90. So a 10-cent spread is what that is. And this means, of course, that I closed Solana at a lower price than what I would have wanted to. If I closed it at 200, I'd be making a couple pennies more. I know it's pennies, but you know, it sucks to see this kind of stuff happen. And depending on the case, like this was a really rapid crash where Solana immediately went to like, I could show you the chart, like 199 something. It was on the first drawdown. Right over here is this candle. The lowest of it was 199.80, right? So that quick drop kicked me out of the markets, which I regret doing that, of course. I should have just never put a stop loss there. My average entry was, what, 178? Yeah, 178. So Man, I did the math. I think I'd be in like 1,500 in profit by now if I didn't sell. But I took 500 profit with a stop loss in positive territory, right? That's kind of what happened. So it's important for this kind of stuff. The market makers specifically, right? They were a key partner for Sonic's token market structure back to Wintermute. The renewal shows continued commitment to market quality, focus on infrastructure, professional approach to token markets, and long-term vision for Sonic. It's about building sustainable markets and not short-term pumps, which I agree with. If you want to save the project, you got to do something. And they took the steps in the right direction. They had their governance vote. They will now allow ETFs. They will now allow treasuries and something else. They had they're getting the economic data published, you know, on Python and on Chainlink with Sonic. So, you know, the adoption is there, and they're just genuinely a good project. So yeah, top tier market maker, renewed partnership, better liquidity incoming, more stable markets and professional infrastructure. All this is required for long-term growth, which is what we want to see for Sonic. And oh yeah, also part of it was burning on transactions, which hopefully they do get to, and it's significant. One could argue alt season is already here. If you can't see it, you're probably sitting on the sidelines and not paying attention. You mentioned below in chunks about Dogecoin, right? Dogecoin 26% it showed here. I haven't looked at Dogecoin in a very long time, and I'll have a look at it now. 7% up today. Okay, that is a good surprise. 28 high. Resistance at 27. We're at it right now, 27 cents. You're thinking another 40 or 60 cents rise? Ooh, that'll put it like near $1. Yeah, probably. What was its all-time high? Wasn't it like 70 cents, I think? Doge. It's still up here. Like, it's one of those meme coins that's always been in the top 10. I'll give it that. 56. Oh, it was 70 in Canadian. That's what it was, yeah. Hey, maybe. Honestly, with, like, the FOMOs, the, you know, the meme coins, if they do indeed get really hot, yeah. We could see some good movement with Dogecoin. It's the most OG meme coin. And we have, what was it, ETFs or treasuries on it as well. Although I'm pretty sure the companies didn't like it. What was that company called? It was like Clean something. Clean. I'm not going to remember exactly what it was. Clean Harbors, I think. Was it this? This was bad earnings. I don't remember which one it was. It had to do with like clean something that they're announcing like a Dogecoin treasury, which I'm like, okay, why were you doing meme coin treasuries? Since when? Just do Bitcoin. Stick with Bitcoin. We should all do that. Every company. Anyways, BNB is also a coin that I practically never really look at. And hey, it has been hitting all-time highs. I'll give you that. Do we even have this here? Oh, we do. 926. Yep. That is an all-time high in my books. Look at that. I did hold BNB for a while. It was at like 600, I think. And then it crashed to like 500 over here in August 2024. Yeah, I remember this. It even went to a low of like 395. What was this lowest? 398 lowest. Basically $400. I felt that. I'm like, yeah, you know what? Screw Binance. I'm not buying this. And I don't know. I noticed like its volatility was just not really there. It wasn't good for trading. At this time, I was mainly focusing on like short-term strategies, like 5-minute chart trading. It was brutal on Binance. It would just do the opposite of what I wanted it to do, and it would do it slowly, which was the worst part of it all. So, yeah. Hey, but it's maintained its weekly uptrend really strong, and it's at an all-time high today. So, good for Binance. And, of course, CZ is very happy about it. Build and build. We have Gemini. The Bitcoin and crypto exchange Gemini raising $425 million in its IPO, valuing the firm at $3.3 billion. Shares begin trading on the NASDAQ on Friday under the ticker GEMI. So Gemini is officially a thing, I think. Are they talking about literally today, Friday? I have not looked. GEMI. Oops. Gemini Space Station. Yeah, that's exactly it. No, it's not. Where is it? No, I think... Are they talking about next... Okay, hold on. Soars and NASDAQ debut triggers trading pause. But did they take it off already? A volatile debut. 28 per share late Thursday. I covered this yesterday. They said they were going to do it late Thursday. Nothing happened. Today, it doesn't exist. What? Okay, hold on. Aespa fan, do we think we move higher overall? Do you think we will move overall higher over the weekend? I don't think so. A lot of the coins are overbought right now. Like in their 4-hour chart is what I mainly like to look at it. I'll even use just Binance now that we're on it as an example, right? RSI momentum is very high for it. For most coins, not all of them, right? At this rate, I think, you know, we could slow down a bit. Saturdays are typically very low volatility, so we'll stay, like, high, but we'll just have a bit of a decay. Is it actually Gemini Space Station? Hold on. Oh, it is. Why do they call it Space Station? This is a crypto exchange. Are you sure? Holding company. Oh, it is. Okay. Okay, thank you, Willow and Chunks. Wow. Okay, I was partially right then, I guess. Wow, not a good price action here. It started at what again? What did I look at? Its proposed price range between 17 and 19. Hey, at least it beat that with its IPO, right? Opened at, where do I see this here? 37, hit a high of 45. Yeah, it's pretty volatile. And overall dropped 33. We don't have enough history here, so yeah. There you go. I also have a written down about Gemini. It's going to be competitor to Bullish, another crypto exchange that had a recent IPO. And Coinbase as well. But Coinbase will probably lead the way compared to them. Because it has more history. It has good earnings so far. Bullish is more of like they adopted Circle, right? USDC. And it's, what did I write down here? Oh yeah, Bullish is more for like institutional traders, and Coinbase is more for like retail traders. When we enter alt season, it's going to be driven by retail traders. And maybe Gemini as well, I guess. We'll see how they both move, but Coinbase, I'd still keep my bet on it because it's safer. Are we high with it though? We are pretty high, 323. Yeah, I don't know. What was I doing on Coinbase here? What is this price action? Oh, we did hit a support at the 290, 291. This downtrend is gone. Yeah, and it maintains a good overall uptrend. But you also do have to look at its unlocks. IPO lockup expirations, right? This is when the insiders finally get to take their profits on their new IPOs. I wanted to check for Bullish and for... Not in 3 months, though. Oh my gosh, get out of here. Can I search? I have not used this website before. I just found it and... Okay, here we go. Let me look at Bullish. Oh, it's not going to tell me the... I'm too lazy to check this stuff out. I don't plan on investing on them anyway. And if I would, it's probably just going to be on... Okay, get out. It's probably just going to be on either Coinbase or... I'd still be fine with Circle, right? Because Circle is genuinely its own thing. USAT will be a competitor, though. Like, that was kind of announced today. So we'll see how that goes. Japan will cut its crypto tax to 20%. from up to 55% in FY 2026. That's good. Reducing the capital gains tax rate. It's pretty high in a lot of countries, so that's good that they're regulating that. Good. That is all the news I have. Wow, 1 hour stream already with 0 news to talk about. Hey, am I just not good at that? Overall, yeah, we're already seeing the price decay a little bit, but I don't think it's going to be too significant overall. Like, we're not going to crash to 114,000 on a no news day. Like, we'll just see some decay. Maybe, like, even, I wouldn't mind a bit of a rise, right? But we're not going to break out of the resistance. There's just not enough strength to do so. And if there is, that would just scream market manipulation at that point. So watch out if you see something like this, because it could be a huge correction after that. I'm talking like over the weekend, Saturday, Sunday. But after that, things should be back to normal. Volatility should kick in with the volume. And yeah, high expectations for that FOMC meeting Wednesday. Where is it? Here. Please, Jerome, do the right thing. 25 basis point rate cut, that's all. And tell us we'll get 3 rate cuts. Good. Great. That'll be all for today then. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed. And thanks for subscribing. I will see you tomorrow, because I don't have anything that I'm doing. Nothing planned, I don't think. So, yeah. We'll see what we got by tomorrow. And yeah, till then, have a